ang ebidensya tungkol dun sa free tickets. Collegial body po kami. Wala po sa amin tumayo, even if some of us may have disagreed or agreed. Pero, and of course, the Senate President has a lot of influence on us. Although pare-pareho kaming senador, he is the Senate President. But do you file a case only against him and not the whole Senate? Yung po ang sinasabi nung defense that we want clarified because marami din punta nung... So are you saying that there was a conspiracy here and the leader of the conspiracy is the is the Chief Justice kasi siya nag-influence sa iba? So are we also going to hold the others accountable? Kasi ang nag-issue ng TRO yung majority. Mr. President, just a 30-second extension.
Go ahead. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Yung binabalikan ko lang, klaro po sa akin na yun yung partiality at yung sinabi po ng dalawa. But yung question ko po ng ang maliba sa pag-i-issue ng TRO ay yung Chief Justice lang ho ba? O lahat ng justice na pumirma?
Maaari pong yung ibang justice din. Pero sa ngayon po, ang ating pinaglilitis dito ay yung Chief Justice.
Okay.
Sabagat yung pong mga nakasulat sa dissenting opinion ni Justice Sereno, yung mga ginawa o the acts done by the Chief Justice were apart from certain acts which were together with the other justices.
The reason, sir,
there were certain acts that were his own,
and
that were so clear.
You have outlined that, and in your summation,
yes.
you will outline that. But the reason this is so important to us, sir, is because some of these cases, including the show cause, including this TRO, including the PASAF case, these are pending before the Supreme Court. So maraming nagtatanong. So kung hindi mo gusto ang desisyon at marami kang kaibigan na congressman, pwede bang ang gawin mo appeal via impeachment? No, meaning pailan mo ng impeachment, i-discuss natin yung kaso dito. On the other hand, wala ngang appeal sa Supreme Court. Your only remedy against Supreme Court justices if they betray the public trust is to go to impeachment court. So I also agree that we can call some of them here or we can look at the documents, etc. But I want the defense, the prosecution, to show us very clearly, what makes it different. What makes it different when it's an ordinary case na erroneous, na dapat hindi pasukan ng impeachment, and when it has reached a point that the only redress of our people to deal with the actions of certain justices or maybe a division or one of them is to go into impeachment process. You have answered some of the questions, but I think that's so important because ang dami po nagsasabi na ongoing yung cases na yan, ba't nyo dinidiscuss and everything?
Mr. Senator, there will be time for us to put all together the bits and pieces of evidence in order that we could present a clear picture of the partiality, which in our theory is betrayal of public trust. When we come to the summation, hopefully,
I will patiently wait for that, sir.
Because the bits of evidence are to be put together.
Yes.
We cannot take one act, questionable act of the Chief Justice or any associate justice in isolation.
Well, sir, I appreciate your answer na linawan po ako ng konti. I was hoping kasi na i-present nyo yung excessive entanglement kasi tingin ko nakakabit yun dito Kasi kung ipapakita mo gaano kalapit kay Presidente Arroyo, ang Chief Justice, and then ang kasunod, kung but since hindi nyo na-present yun, pero hindi naman kayo nag-flip-flop, nag-decide lang kayo na wag i-present yun. That's why medyo pinangunahan ko lang ng konti. Kasi we have a tendency na kung saan-saan napupunta minsan important issues dito. That's why I stood up to clarify this. And also, concerns ng defense to Ilang beses na nila tinanong na ongoing yung case And we have to be careful. After this impeachment, we still have to give all respect sa Supreme Court. But let me stop there, sir.
Just a last word, Mr.
Yes.
Senator, with the indulgence of the presiding officer, Senate President. Hindi na po namin kailangang ipakita kung gaano kalapit si Ginang Corona sa dating Pangulo. May mga katibayan po kami, documentary pa, na ipapagtibay kung gaano kalapit mismo si Chief Justice Corona
But sir, we cannot take judicial notice of
yeah.
closeness of the Chief Justice kay President Arroyo. And kanina po, sinabi po ng kasama nyo dito, hindi nyo na i-represent yung excessive entanglement. So ako, pag nag-review ako ng files nito bago ako gumawa ng desisyon, hindi ko pwedeng tignan yung allegation nyo lang.
Hindi, ang sinasabi ko po, meron kaming ebidensya
Na
na
i-represent nyo
ipapakita
po.
kung gaano kalapit mismo si Chief Justice Corona
Okay.
sa dating Pangulo.
If you're going to present that, then I'll wait
Yes,
for that.
yes.
But I was just saying, kanina po kasi ang understanding ko, yung excessive entanglement, kung tawagin nyo, ay hindi na ipapakita. But of course, even if he is very, very close, normal naman na i-appoint ng presidente yung close sa kanya. Hindi normal na yung appoint ng presidente yung kalaban niya. So you still have to show a link that closeness led to partiality. On that point, Mr. President, thank you for the extension, and may I take this opportunity also to thank the Senate President and Senator Gringo for what they did in 1986, because it's February 22 today, and we have not forgotten, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Thank you. But
Mr.
that is
President.
in the past. We're looking towards the future.
Mr. President,
The
before we are
majority
overtaken
leader-
before we are overtaken by the lateness of the hour, may we start with the cross-examination, Mr. President?
The defense counsel may cross if he wishes.
Okay. Okay, Your Honor. Just a couple of questions, Your Honor.
Proceed.
On the assumption that we will be granted to continue at tomorrow's hearing, Your Honor.
Proceed.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary.
Good afternoon, sir.
It's nice to see you around.
Same here.
Now, once upon a time, this representation was also a Secretary of Justice, the department you are now handling. And I have gone over the powers and prerogatives of the Secretary pursuant to the administrative code that you have mentioned.
Yes, Your Honor.
I did not see in there any power or function granted to the Secretary to review, much less reverse, any decision of the Supreme Court. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Your Honor, definitely not.
All right.
No such power.
Yes. And this is because of the hierarchy in our governmental setup, is it not?
Yes, Your Honor.
Insofar as the Judicial Department is concerned, the head is the Supreme Court, and on top of that is the Chief Justice.
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right. Now,
Yes, sir.
do you know of any branch of the government that can go deep by way of constitutional function into examining the decisions or orders of the Supreme Court?
None of the well, if you're talking about decisions of the Supreme Court, of course,
Yes, go ahead, please.
then it's only the Supreme Court.
So there is no governmental function or machinery that can dig deeper into the wisdom, validity, and correctness or constitutionality of any decision of the Supreme Court.
Yes, in the exercise of its judicial review.
All right. Now, is there any function allotted to the executive department whereby it can review, even in a minor sense, the decision or orders of the Honorable Supreme Court?
Reviewing the decisions and orders of the Supreme Court, also none, because the Supreme Court is...
And you must agree with me that this is embodied in several decisions already, like the Barromeo, the Malabang versus Court of Appeals case, whereby a party litigant lost his case in Negros, went to the Court of Appeals. The decision was also in favor of his opponent, went to the Supreme Court, and it was denied. Filed a motion for reconsideration, the motion is denied. So what he did was to go to the office of the President and filed an administrative case against the members of the Supreme Court. And that was dismissed by the Supreme Court. Do you recall that case?
Well, I don't exactly recall that case, but the
there was-
principle involved...
Yeah, but there was a
is-
I'm sorry. Kindly go ahead.
The principle involved, I'm familiar with.
All right. And there was a dictum in there stating that there is no authority or governmental setup in our system of government, not even the office of the President can review, much less reverse, any decision of the Supreme Court. Am I right?
Yes, Your Honor, in the
You rec-
exercise of this
you
judicial
recognize
review.
that?
Yes, Your Honor.
In the governmental setup, necessarily the Supreme Court is higher than any of the departments of the executive department.
The judiciary, the Supreme Court, is a co-equal branch.
Yeah, insofar as the departments are concerned, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
But how I'm referring to the other cabinet, the cabinet of the president, are they, or the departments under the president, are they co-equal with the? Is that what you wanted to tell us?
Well, the departments or the executive offices under the office of the president, they all form part of the executive department.
Correct.
So they have the executive department, all executive officers have their respective powers and prerogatives in the exercise of the executive power, and the executive branch of government happens to be a co-equal branch of government.
And in the distribution of powers under the Constitution, it is not the cabinet member or the department officials that are on level with the judiciary, is it not?
Well,
it is the